She spent 7 of her formative years studying at the IST International School of Tanganyika in Dar es Salaam. It was there that she discovered her calling of being a teacher after being influenced by her French teacher Ms Wamba. The Great Mentors warmly invites Dr Shunila Joy Chauhan, Principal, ORCHID, the International School, Mumbai. An educator by choice, Dr. Shunila taught in well-recognized ICSE board schools where she found herself desirous of exploring an environment which offered greater liberty in content and teaching methodologies. She found herself drawn towards the Cambridge board, which offered more empowerment. Dr. Shunila played key role in developing the curriculum. She also went on to handle academic operations and was responsible for Quality Assurance Guarantee, QAG. She was offered a leadership role which enabled her to mentor other teachers and shape the future of a world-class institute. She has always been keen that the young learners in her institute go on to become global citizens who are inquisitive, intelligent and intellectual in their approach towards their own lives in the world. Dr. Shunila has been conferred with many prestigious awards. The Shining Image of India by the Economic Growth Society of India. The Hun D. Lit from Germany in January 2020 by the International Peace University. Nation Builder Award by Rotary Club of India. Impact Awards by Career Beacon. International Corona Warrior Award by Anti-Corruption Foundation of India. Dr. Shunila strongly believes in the empowerment of women through education and breaking down of orthodox barriers which act as a stumbling block to their growth and achieving their full potential. She firmly believes in speaking out against injustice and everything that disrespects women in society. She enjoys volunteering to teach women and children from vulnerable backgrounds. The happiness in the eyes of women who write their name for the first time in their lives is priceless. Being a global goodwill ambassador, she stands firmly against any kind of child abuse. She enjoys taking the musical program, My Body is My Body, to students where they learn how to say no to any kind of wrong touch.
Hello friends. She spent 7 of her formative years studying at the IST International School of Tanganyika in Dar es Salaam. It was there that she discovered her calling of being a teacher after being influenced by her French teacher. On behalf of the great mentors, me, Sushil Sinha, warmly welcome Ms Shunila Joy Chauhan ma'am for today's talk show session. Thanks ma'am for giving your valuable time and being with us. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting me on this wonderful platform, and a really big thank you to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. First, we would like to go with your professional journey up till this point, please.
Yes, so as you were saying that it was my French teacher who influenced me, Mrs. Wamba, and I went on to become a teacher where I began my professional journey with City International School, which was an ICSE school, which gave me a very wonderful platform to learn and grow. And after spending 5 years over there, I went on to join the Vipure group of schools and in Mumbai, Goregaon. And there I was an IDCSE and A-level teacher teaching my subject, which is economics. And that is what I did for the 5 years over there. Enjoyed teaching my students and young learners, and thereafter was promoted as a subject matter expert in economics, where I developed the curriculum for CBSE, ICSE, made lesson plans, PPTs and videos for Cambridge. And that is how I was in the corporate office of Vipure. Thereafter, they also asked me to move into academic operations, and I used to visit different schools in the west zone of India and for the Vipure group of schools and Pan India. That was really a wonderful experience where I learned from so many others collaborating. And that was 5 years over there in the corporate office. And then I got into a leadership role at Thakur International, where I headed as a principal of the Cambridge section. And I was there for 3 years. It was also a wonderful learning experience. And over there, daycare for the children, as well as the augmented reality and virtual reality media lab. After that, it was time to move on to the ORCHID group of schools, where I joined as principal in Maladies. So that is my professional journey so far.
Really great, ma'am. Your whatever the journey is, it looks you are very much strong in your academic part. You have gone through a lot of academic parts in your duration. It's really great, ma'am. You are very
Thank
fond
you.
of. Thanks, ma'am. You are very fond of experiential learning. How do you consider
Yes.
this experiential learning, and why it is important?
So basically, experiential learning is nothing but learning by doing. That is something which I'm sure every viewer over here has also heard this tagline very often. That what you learn is learning by doing, and that's what experiential learning is in a nutshell. And it helps the students to examine whatever actions, thought processes, and all, and even and examine their responses also. It helps them to explore themselves, whether it is intellectually, emotionally, know what is there in the environment, the cause and consequences of a particular action, not just learned by, okay, this is what is photosynthesis, but actually do it by growing that in your school. I mean, that's a very simple example. There are so many other examples, but they actually watch these things happen. So this kind of planning, organization, and learning activities, giving feedback, receiving feedback, and being accountable for your own learning, putting into practice what you have experienced, your knowledge, your skills, that exactly is experiential learning. So, when we teach little children, it's not just that this is, this is how what a particular. I'll just give an example of a primary or pre-primary. This is a particular animal, and this is what is his natural habitat. But through experiential learning, we can take them, we can show them, we can take them to a farm. And nowadays, with the virtual field trips, we can actually do it virtually. We can go in, without having to go anywhere, because obviously of the situation nowadays. We can take the children to a particular place where there is a habitat for animals and show them how they are living in their natural environment. So experiential learning actually links what are facts with what actually is the ground reality, how it is operating, how is it happening, and you know, let children only decide for themselves that is this correct or not. Very often, when they make a particular, they apply some particular law in physics. So this is how students are involved. They are involved in experiencing it. They calculate the data. So many of us, I'm sure, can relate to it. When I remember sitting through my physics classes and wondering what is this law, what is happening. I was totally lost at time because it was so theoretical. But in today's learning, what happens is that since you can experience it, you can relate to it. And that is what is required. Now with all the, I mean, they're all, interrelated, our actual learning. And it doesn't need to take a lot of scientific data, or that you have to get the most expensive equipment to teach children. Simple things are enough. Just show them, let them learn. Be a facilitator, lead them, be on the side, let them learn. And then let them document it, let them write it down and tell you why they have chosen a particular answer. Once students realize that, oh, this is not working out, they themselves find their mistakes, and then we can tell them, okay, I feel that this is how you could have done it better. So that is experiential learning, and it never fails. Children love it nowadays. Of course, gamification, everything has come, but experiential learning is simply learning by doing.
So I think it's basically a concept of involving the students in learning process. As much as they are involved, more they will learn. And in the simple way, as much as our organ involved, we learn more and more. Right? And I think it's also a part of STEM. What people
Yes,
are talking
absolutely.
nowadays.
Absolutely. Nowadays, even with the NEP, we have seen internships are encouraged. It's all part of experiential learning.
Yes, yes.
Because when you are an intern, you are doing your internship, you learn, you watch, you do, you actually practice. Yeah. So it's the involvement, as you rightly said. So
You are very much involved in technology. How this augmented reality and virtual reality is going to help in this experiential learning?
right. So augmented reality is, I mean, everybody, of course, nowadays does know what it is, but just to, just to set it right. So augmented reality is that in this environment, we use certain things which will uh, add to the learning process. Okay, so it could be that it could be some kind of goggles which we are looking through and we can see. So for example, life cycle of a butterfly, we take the children into the class, they wear those specs and then they can see how the whole process is. And, it's just like a 3D way of actually looking at it. It's augmented. Whereas in virtual reality, we are in another environment. It's a completely, it's a completely different environment. It's not the real environment. You wear the headset, the entire headset, and you are in another world. You can perform experiments in a lab without being in the lab. You can see all the equipment. You can pick up beakers, you can mix solutions, you can know the outcome, or you could be checking something in space. You can be in the heart. You can be taking and looking at the auricles, ventricles. You can see the whole flowing of the blood, the pumping of the blood. So this is in a virtual reality. So augmented reality and virtual reality are being used, but you need to obviously use it judiciously along with teaching. It's not a substitute. It is one of the things that just adds to it. It adds to the flavor. It's like, when you make Maggie, if you eat it only just Maggie, it's okay. It's very tasty, of course, but you cannot do without the base. But when you add things to it, it becomes tastier. So that is what augmented reality and virtual reality are to teaching. So I mean, if I can just tell you a little bit further about it, and that is, if you have your virtual reality goggles, you have to keep in mind the learners. You have to see that you don't give them too much time with the virtual reality, whether it's the specs or whether it is they're using on the cell phone. There should be a time limit to it because it's a simulation. It's computer generated, and then children get so involved. It can lead to some kind of heaviness in their head or eye strain. So it has a very important role in education because it gives a memorable kind of an experience to the children. They get to see things very differently. The same goes with virtual reality. It's a completely it's an immersive it's an immersive technology where you are completely in another setting or environment. It's like how it is in gaming. So students explore a variety of activities. They learn about the that particular topic, the curriculum. They check their knowledge. You are asked to pick up, label this, label that, correct things are put in place, be it geography, science, weather, climate, space. All this can be done through augmented reality. And that is what makes it so unique. You can connect to people around the world. You can go on a virtual field trip. You can bring things to life, and you can have a different kind of a space only altogether. You can become the part of a complete story because you are in another environment, in another setting altogether. When we talk about Wonderland, right? Wonderland, but you create the Wonderland. So you're part of it. So you are too much into that. So uh, it needs to be used with a little bit of judgment and a little bit of monitoring. And yet it has completely changed education. It's completely made it to the level of today's child. Today's child is so inquisitive. As you know, I'm sure your children too, as they pick up the cell phone, you may be figuring out what do I do with my phone, but they know everything about your phone more than you know. So that's it. We have to keep them, engaged, and that is what they are most comfortable with. And that is why augmented reality and virtual reality have made such a headway in education.
Really, ma'am. Nowadays, it is very much important. And in fact, in this duration, this is the COVID duration and closing of the schools, when students are not allowed to go outside. Of course, they have learned a lot through these channels. Of course, how do
Yes.
you, how much you consider this is this augmented, sorry, experiential learning is important to the children?
Experiential learning, by and large, is important to children. And though children have been in during this time completely bound in the house, it has been a very difficult time for them, because now it is in front of a screen, which is not what they were used to. They are from any board, whether they were using experiential or not, it has been a very challenging time for children. But there have been many online free apps which have been given, be it whether it is for experiential learning or anything, which have been helping children to create that again, that same thing about experiential learning. There are various apps which helps you to create augmented reality. Even if you type on Google, you will find through your normal phone also there are many augmented reality videos which are educational. And with a simple augmented reality specs which you can get anywhere, you can as a teacher, you can explore, you can ask the children if they can access and they can get it. uh, then it's all right, because all these are available on Amazon also, and there is delivery. So I mean, there are ways. However, if we do not look at that aspect, because we are talking about children everywhere, then I would say that the creative teacher would still talk about experiential learning, wherein she would use day-to-day items that are available in the house for a child. When they are mixing paints, the chemical reaction, simple watercolors, those things also would help the child to learn. When they see the plants growing in their home, or they could tell the children that now that you're at home, grow a plant, see right from the beginning how it is a nice indoor plant, how it would help the environment, how it would help your home. So these are all parts of experiential learning, and it depends upon the creative teacher to actually bring it to the children. Because if you are a teacher, you cannot stop thinking about how to make this class meaningful. What do I do tomorrow which will make the child remember this forever? Because you want that the child should learn that anyhow. And that is experiential learning. For that, the teacher has to have a very much more exploring kind of mind, a broader mindset. Because if we are just going to look at books and say, okay, this is the portion, I'm going to open up a PPT, show it, video, show it. Yes, it's all required, but there's more you can do. And that is experiential learning, because it doesn't just stop with your child doing it. The next step is actually writing it down, the steps. What did they do? What was the outcome? Discuss with their other friends, collaborate, ask, did you also get this result? No, I didn't get this result. Okay, how did you get this? Why did you get this? So all that starts, which is what is today's life is what about collaboration. All these things are integrated communication, the three C's which we talk about. And that is how we make them connect the dots. It's important for a child to connect the dots by himself through his own thinking. So that's how important experiential learning.
Thank you, ma'am, for elaborating in such a beautiful way. Ma'am, you also focus for remote learning and hybrid learning. Can you
Yes,
elaborate on that part, please?
definitely. So when we talk about remote learning, obviously we know that nowadays we have everything is online, and yet online teaching has come up with many apps. There are many ways. Some are through Zoom, some through Teams, through Google Meet. but we are doing online teaching. And it has made the world a very much more secure and comfortable place so that children don't miss out. So in these 2 years, children have not missed out. Exams have happened. There's been a lot of trial and error, and all of us have moved up to another level altogether. But when we talk about hybrid learning, there's also a time of recovery. Things are going back to normal, but a certain amount, some of the parents would not be comfortable with sending their children to school. In that case, when you have to have a system where you have online teaching as well as delivering it to the children in the class, that would be hybrid. Hybrid is a combination of both, and it is a task which is not so simple for the teacher, because I've seen observed many classes of my teachers when they are delivering a hybrid kind of education, where they are talking to the normal to the laptop. They're also taking care of the children. Some of the work is on the board. So it's important for a school to invest at that time on the all the right equipment to make it easy for the educators to deliver that kind of education. So hybrid is a combination of both, and we are going to look at a lot more of it in the upcoming future.
Thank you, ma'am. What are the what do you consider? What are the major challenges in doing this experiential learning?
The challenges of experiential learning are majorly content, because it takes a lot of time to prepare the content. So, for example, different boards have just little more added. This one more feature they teach, or this one more thing is added to a topic. So for the developers who are actually making the augmented reality and virtual reality content, they have to keep updating it, and it takes time and it is expensive. So majorly we face a concern with not enough content. That is the thing about virtual reality. Also the headsets that you get for virtual reality, uh, since it is a completely immersive technology, so the headsets are also, they need to keep getting updated. Their licenses need to be bought frequently. I mean, every year they have to be reviewed. In the pandemic, many schools who have invested, or many educational institutes who have invested, they have had a tough time. And even for the augmented reality, the goggles, they need the charging. It needs to be charged. It also requires a certain amount of investment, so that has to happen. And also some children do experience some kind of uneasy feeling. And before introducing it, I remember in Thakur International also, we had taken a lot of trials of kids of different age groups who would be experiencing it. So some feel some kind of heaviness, and it should not be used for more than 20 minutes, because the children feel kind of lightheaded sometimes, some feel giddy, that kind of thing. So these are the challenges of virtual reality and augmented reality. But experiential learning, there is no challenge. The only challenge is yourself. You can always explore with the things around you, how you can make it meaningful for kids. So obviously we would like, and we are looking forward to more and more AR, VR nowadays. But it's always the first thing is always experiential learning.
In experiential learning, enthusiasm of teachers, that is very much required, because they have to apply ultimately.
Absolutely.
They cannot live in back era. They have to live in this era. They just have to think about this, how they can utilize their resources, whatever resources are available in the school. And there are several, they are already having so many resources to use this. They can promote, they can encourage, they can motivate students to involve in all this. Of course, you are very fond of technology. What I got that you are the first principal, you are talking about AR and VR and all. And of course, these things are very much required. It is going to give, in fact, there are many areas where students are not generally, they have imagination to think about that. So of course, these things that is going to help them a lot to imagine that. In fact, they can visualize that directly, especially in class 11th and 12th. They do not understand how they are taking a particular shape, how they are considering 3D shape, how they are going to consider azimuthal angle. So by using this technology, of course, they can observe that. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your focus on these very important issues and giving your insights on this important point. Thank you a lot. And thank you so much for giving your valuable time and being with us.
Thank you so much. And I just want to add to that point where you said for 11th and 12th students, you are
Yes,
absolutely right. Majorly, when we are talking about the 11th and 12th grade children, it is for them that we use virtual reality more because they are in that immersive kind of technology. So yes, you're right. And thank you very much, sir, for having me here on the show. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And thank you.
thank a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much.